Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're not new here, welcome if you're new. My name is Martha. I'm a mother of two. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. They're 20 months apart. Just wanted to get that little intro out of the way. And this is going to be my New Year reset, my January 2024 reset. I know we're over halfway through the month, but this is the first chance I've had to do this. I had pneumonia earlier in the month, so it's been a little bit hectic. We also moved out of our apartment. If you watched my moving vlog, the last vlog I had, we were just looking at houses, getting an idea of what was out there for the rental housing market in the Midwest where we live. And we weren't planning to move until March because that's when our lease is up, but then something happened. Secondhand smoke just kind of filled our apartment, made it smell like an ashtray, and we didn't feel comfortable keeping our kids living there anymore or ourselves because it was really starting to affect our health. So we moved the heck out of there, really. We moved out of there. We've been living in this Airbnb for a few weeks now, and we are working on signing a lease for a house early and bleeding money at the same time, but that's okay. It's worth it for our health. But I wanted to get into the new year with a little bit more structure than last year. Last year was a very loosely structured year because we did move in March, and I was pregnant. I was a little bit over halfway through my pregnancy with our youngest daughter, Sylvie, and we just kind of got here, tried to figure out, how to stay here because we came without my husband having a job. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I wasn't gonna have a job. And, he got a job here. We got into the apartment, signed that lease and everything like that, and here we are. So it's been kind of a weird year since March, and he's worked for the entire year, and now we are staying in this Airbnb while we wait to finally rent a house. Our final apartment is done. We still have to go and move all our stuff out of it and everything, but we're waiting until we sign a lease with the house because obviously that Airbnb is furnished. We're not going to rent this long term. So I decided that my word this year was going to be stability. Because last year was such an unstable year. It was a year of transition. I was pregnant. I had our baby in June. So we went from 1 to 2 kids. We moved to the Midwest. We're not from the Midwest. We don't have family in the Midwest. We had actually never been to the Midwest before just moving. So it was kind of a weird year. It was a transition year. We moved here for the lower cost of living and everything like that, and the job market is pretty much the same, if not slightly better for my husband's fields than New Hampshire was. So I feel like we kind of landed in a good place for us for the next probably 5 years or so, and then we'll kind of reevaluate and see if we want to move elsewhere or what we want to do. So I have 6 categories here. I'm going to start with my first category, which is health and wellness. And I only have 2 goals for this. I'm trying to keep it really simple for the year. I don't think I need to have 6 goals for every category. That would be just a bit overkill for me, especially since I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 and they keep me really, really busy. So for health and wellness, I have just get consistent with supplements. I've kind of fallen off of taking supplements. I took a prenatal through my pregnancy. I also took magnesium religiously because it really helped me with my restless legs that I would get during pregnancy. I took magnesium glycinate, if anyone's wondering what kind of magnesium I was taking, and it's chelated as well. Now I kind of have fallen off because I had our baby. She was colicky for the first probably 4 or 5 months, and that was really, really, really hard. So I was just trying to survive. Then we figured out that she has cow's milk protein allergy. I cut dairy out completely. I also cut caffeine completely, and she has been doing a lot better. But during that colicky time, which was a long, long time, I was just trying to survive and trying not to just fall apart because it was so hard with her being so colicky. Now that we're kind of coming out the other side of it, she's not, doing perfectly in terms of feeling comfortable digestively, because we do have slip-ups here and there where a restaurant won't tell us that there's dairy in something and there is, or whatever. But we're doing better, and now that we are doing better, I just want to get a nice supplement stack, so to speak, that I take daily. I think I probably want to go back on a prenatal. I mean, I'm supposed to be taking one while breastfeeding, and every mom is supposed to take one while breastfeeding, but I don't know that I like the prenatal that I was on during my pregnancy, but I figure I'll just finish it out and then get a new one that I will hopefully like better. And then I want to be taking my vitamin D because the sun does not really shine in the Midwest, just like in the Northeast. in the Northeast in the winter. And I want to be taking my magnesium, which I have been taking that every night still, because sometimes I get a little bit of restless legs going on still, which makes me wonder if maybe my iron is low. Who knows? I will find out at some point when I get my labs drawn, but I just really haven't had time to do that. And then I want to be on an omega-3. I usually take fish oil, but we ran out and we have not restocked that, so I need to get more of that. And then milk thistle I tend to take just for like a liver support sort of thing. I don't drink or anything, but just liver support in general because of all the illnesses we've had this past year and everything else like that. And then I may want to consider some additional supplements, but I'm just not sure at this point, and I will update you in a future video if I do decide to add anything to my stack. But for now, that sounds pretty good. Moving on to my second and final goal for health and wellness is lift 3 times a week. And I don't care if I'm starting at body weight again, which I definitely will be. I don't care if I'm lifting a barbell at this point, even though I think we will be able to set up our squat rack, or get a new squat rack really, because ours is falling apart, and set up our barbell and everything like that in the new house, because I think we're going to have a garage. But until then, I don't mind doing body weight and just kind of rebuilding my strength, because at this point I am feeling pretty weak, especially because it's been a long time off since having Sylvie, and then before having Sylvie at the end of my pregnancy I really wasn't doing much of anything because I was in so much pain. Gabe?
Yes. I have a baby in my hands.
Hi, cutie. Do you want to be in my video? Okay. Well, you can just loiter in the background if you like.
Yeah, she escaped my grasp.
Hi. Okay, well, now we have some special guests. We've got Sylvie, and we got Pearl, and we got Gabe, my husband.
Hey.
He was trying to watch them for me while I filmed this, but I know that nobody really wants to be without me, so.
That's very true.
Alright, moving on to the next category, which is mental health. I started off with watch people who inspire or entertain me and unsubscribe from those who don't. I noticed that a couple people I was following, and nothing wrong with them or anything like that, I just felt that they were not inspiring me, or they were almost annoying me. Like sometimes speech mannerisms and things like that just really get to me over time, or content is just not interesting to me anymore from someone that I may have followed for a long time, and I just don't find myself clicking on their videos anymore. So I've unsubscribed from a few people, and it actually made me feel a lot better, because it's kind of also making room for me to find new people to watch on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff like that. And I've also found a few people over the past year who really do inspire me. Like Katie Musser is a good example. I've watched a lot of her videos, and I find every single one of them inspiring, which is really good. That's what I want to be watching on YouTube, is things that make me want to make videos and want to create things, because I feel like creating is really, really important. My second goal for the reset is prioritize rest. I'm a mom of 2. I find myself going and going and going and going all day. This past couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I've been up between 2:30 and 3:30 with Sylvie every single day, and it has been a lot. It's been a lot for me to get up, because then I still don't go to bed until like sometimes 7:30 if I'm lucky, because Gabe will take over with Pearl and feed her dinner and then bring her to bed. But a lot of the times it's like 9:30 that I go back to bed, so it's not a lot of sleep, and it's really hard on my body. And I am still breastfeeding 2 girls, not just one, not just the baby. I'm still breastfeeding Pearl as well, so it's a whole lot on me. So this year I want to prioritize rest, just kind of doing nothing, sitting around doing nothing. That would be a great year for me. I'm getting her a toy so she can play. What do you think? The next goal I have for mental health, which this all ties into mental health. I know it's not, mental health exactly, but get into a daily routine, because I have not been in one in a very, very long time. I think I have not been in a daily routine since I was in college, and I left college in 2020, I think. So it has been a really long time of just kind of not having that in my life. And over the past year, I have had somewhat of a routine, like a routine, not a schedule. I never want to have a schedule. Rigid schedules are just not for me. Before Sylvie was born, Pearl and I were in kind of a groove, but it would kind of change as my pregnancy got further along. And towards the end, we were just basically watching TV and eating DoorDash and napping. That was about it. And then as Sylvie got a little bit bigger after I had her, we were doing more things together again, like reading. We always read a ton, but we were reading more again. We were doing some coloring. I was working with her on letters and numbers, and now she can count to 10 and she knows her ABCs, and she's not even 2.5 yet, which is pretty good. We're working on her vocabulary and stuff like that. And this is all stuff that she wants to work on. I would never force that on my child. I would never be like, okay, we're gonna do like preschool stuff or school stuff. No. This is the stuff that she's really interested in and she has fun doing. And then we also do some pretend play. She's not old enough to play together with somebody yet, but she can kind of play side by side, and that's fun. And then we do some physical play. Sometimes I'll have her push on my hands because I think it's called proprioception or something. It's really good to kind of recenter your child, especially before bed or when they get kind of not agitated but like overexcited. So we do a lot of that stuff, and then we were in a routine of lots of baths when we were back in the apartment, but then that kind of fell off when we got here because I was almost afraid to give her a bath here, just because I had a bath filter on our tub in the apartment because there's really hard water here, and if I didn't have that on there, she would get really dry skin or almost eczema breakouts. So I have given her a bath or two here, and she definitely has dried out. But I will be getting another one of those filters, and until then I'm just going to bathe her as much as I need to and just put lotion on her and just hope for the best. I think right now we're falling into a little bit of a routine again in the Airbnb just because we're finally kind of settled in. We know we're going to be here for a little bit longer, and it makes it a little bit easier to kind of plan our days out because we're not like, oh gosh, do we have to leave tomorrow and figure out where else to go while we're still waiting for this house that we're going to rent. That's another goal this year, especially once we get into the rental house. I do want to get into a daily routine. And my next goal in the mental health category is related to this. It's make a plan for the day every morning. A routine is going to be like eat breakfast and then, take a shower and then read my Bible and then, that kind of thing. And making a plan for the day every morning can kind of leave room for things that I might not do every day, or like if we have an appointment, if we have to go somewhere specific, go to the chiropractor, go to a doctor, go to wherever, like if we take a family trip, that kind of thing, just so that, especially when Gabe is home, so that we know what to expect for the day and how we can work together best. Because when Gabe is home with me, we kind of have to take turns taking care of the baby so that I can get some things done, and then so that he can get some things done. And if I'm sick or overtired from being up at 2 a.m. forever with the baby, he can kind of pick up a little bit of my slack, or at least allow me time to shower or eat or sit on my phone for 10 minutes just so I can decompress or whatever. So having a plan for the day every morning is ideal. That is what I would like to do. My last one is shower and skincare daily. And I know this sounds like a basic thing, and it is if you don't have kids. Or if you don't have my kids, at least. Like, I have a very colicky baby. I have a toddler who likes to be with me all the time, and I don't mind at all. I love them. But it has made it kind of hard, especially when Gabe is working, for me to get a shower in. So I want to set a time that I'm going to shower, figure it out with Gabe so that he can take care of the girls during that time, because it's very stressful to shower while a toddler is crying outside the shower curtain and a baby is crying outside the shower curtain in a bouncer. That makes it a little bit less of a rejuvenating thing. So I would like to have that time to shower and then do my skincare every day, because I've also fallen off of skincare in the last year, or maybe 2 years. Before having kids, I had a routine, and my skin is very clear anyway. The only problem I ever have is dryness, and then I am getting older, so like aging like everybody else. But I don't get acne, I don't have to wash my face to avoid acne. So I am very lucky in that respect that I have nice skin, but I still want to be taking care of it so that I don't age more rapidly than I need to. Moving on to a new category, this one is home. So obviously we're not in our own home yet, we're not in a rental home, we're going to be though. And when we get into our home, I want to have a weekly cleaning schedule, or at least like a routine. You know what I mean. I've already gone on the rant about schedule versus routine. So I want to have like this day I do laundry and this day I do laundry, because it's probably gonna be more than one day in a week that I do laundry. And then like this day I mop the floors every week or whatever. This day I vacuum. This day I do this, do that, etc. Declutter, trash, whatever. So that I know what to expect every week, and I kind of get into the swing of doing things every single week. And I will probably want to do a declutter every single morning or every single evening, depending on the day. When you have a toddler especially, and a baby, things get everywhere, toys get everywhere, things travel, things move. Things that aren't your toddlers move around too. So it's good to kind of get everything together and put it back where it goes, so that the next day or for the rest of the day, if you're doing it in the morning, you can kind of know what to expect. My next is a monthly declutter, and by this I mean getting rid of old baby clothes that don't fit anymore. I'm not keeping baby clothes for the next baby. I made that mistake with Pearl. Like, I kept all of Pearl's clothes to have Sylvie wear, and then I just didn't end up having the energy to dig them out of all the bins they were in, so it was pointless. So I'm just gonna we're getting rid of those, donating them, whatever, and then I'm not keeping baby clothes forever again. I'm just not. They're not that expensive. I don't buy expensive brands of baby clothes. I think it might be different if you're buying like Kite Baby or like, I don't know what the other brands are that are really expensive, but I don't buy expensive brands, so I don't really see the point, unless there is some sort of organic cotton that I might want to keep, like the Little Planet from Carter's. I might hold on to those, but I don't really feel like I need to hold on to most of the baby clothes, and they take up too much room. I think that's one of the things that no one really talks about is, yeah, if you have a huge attic or a storage unit that you pay for, a basement or something, somewhere that you can put all the stuff you never want to look at again, then fine. You can keep your baby clothes and that's no problem. But in the apartment, we didn't have space for that. In this house, I don't want to make space for that. That is a waste of space in a house, in my opinion. I don't want to be using our space that could be functional to store stuff that I don't even know if I'm going to use again. So just getting rid of that kind of stuff, and then also with the monthly decluttering toys, because there are always toys that you buy for your kids that they don't use or they don't play with and they don't care about, that you know if you throw them out they're not going to miss them. And those are the toys that are going to go every month, so that we're not having this huge hoard of toys just kind of growing all the time. Because I do buy my kids new toys. That's one of the things that I like to do, is buy them new toys, buy them new clothes, as they size up. I find that really fun, and I like to do that for them. So I want to make sure that we're not just growing a huge mountain of toys over time, and that we are instead throwing away the things that we're like, okay, we don't like this, and adding new stuff in over time, and then getting rid of old stuff. And my last goal for home is to plan meals weekly. This is a struggle for me and my husband. Since I had Sylvie, and also a while before I had Sylvie, probably the entire time we were in the apartment, my husband was cooking dinner. And I didn't have energy. I was pregnant. My pregnancies kind of devastate me. I have horrible morning sickness in the beginning and horrible fatigue, and then the horrible fatigue continues. This last time, the morning sickness got a little bit better over time, and I was feeling relatively fine for the second trimester and then part of the third. And even towards the end of the third, I was feeling pretty good nausea-wise, but I was in a lot of pelvic pain. Like I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's the SI joint or what. I've never really asked anyone about it, but it's like that hip socket pain. I had a lot of that with Sylvie, and it really left me not wanting to stand up, not wanting to walk around towards the end. So I was not cooking, and we kind of got way backed up with dishes, and we never really caught up consistently, and it was just too much of a struggle. So I was just like, okay, you cook dinner and I'm just gonna chill and grow a baby. And that's what I did. And after having Sylvie, it's just really challenging to kind of catch up and feel better after my C-section. So he continued to cook dinner, and we just ended up eating a rotation of like 2 meals, which was really good, and I wouldn't mind still doing that, but I still want to come up with a little bit more variety over time, especially because I think Sylvie's food allergies are going to get better over time, especially the CMPA that I just read today. This is not medical advice, I'm not a doctor, but I read today that CMPA tends to go away in like, I don't know, a pretty good percentage of children within a year, and then an even better percentage within 3 years, and then in most of them by 6 years old. So eventually, hopefully, it will be fine for me to have dairy again while I'm breastfeeding, but for right now, we're still being really careful. But I want to see if I can plan some dairy-free meals for myself, my husband, and my daughter, and ones that Sylvie can also be included in because she is eating solids now here and there. I want to do it not on the day we order groceries because I feel like that would be way too stressful. I want to see if I can kind of get into a groove of like, okay, we like this meal, let's put it in a rotation. We like this meal, let's put it in a rotation, and stuff like that. And I'm also being still very, very careful with what I eat, even beyond dairy. I'm trying not to eat too much tomato. I'm trying to not eat onions because those seem to really bother her. I'm trying not to eat, I'm not having caffeine still because that really was getting to her when I was still having it. No milk, obviously no butter, nothing good, basically. I want to just be planning meals weekly so that we kind of know what to expect and we're not scrambling at the last minute, like what do we cook for dinner? And so that we are cooking at home, because eating out every single meal or every single dinner even is really expensive, and we want to be saving some money this year. Speaking of saving money, onto the financial goals that I have for the coming year. So my first goal is make $100 on social media. I know that either sounds like a lot or doesn't sound like a lot depending on your mindset about these things, but I just want to set that as a goal for this year, whether it's selling some sort of a digital product or through ads if I get monetized or whatever. I just want to see what I can do with that. My second goal is save 3 months of living expenses. We had a decent savings account going for a bit, and then it was wiped out by living in this Airbnb for a bit for our health. So we need to rebuild our savings this year. I would like to have that much in the bank, even if it were to need to be used for like a car repair, if we need new brakes or whatever. We want to be able to weather emergency situations like a car breakdown and be okay. And we also want to be able to pay our rent and pay our monthly bills for 3 months, and then eventually for 6 months we're going to start with a 3 in case Gabe loses a job or whatever. And my third goal, this is the biggest goal for 2024, is pay off all debt. Now we have quite a bit of debt. We have a lot of credit card debt from 2020 when everything shut down and we did not have employment and we were putting groceries on credit cards because we didn't really have any other choice. We have some student loans of mine, very, very little. I'm not really worried about those. And we have our car. We have our car loan. I don't really care if we pay that off this year because, we're going to trade it in eventually so that we can get a bigger car, because if we do ever have another baby, we're going to need a third row. So just keep paying on that as we have been and we'll be good. But I would like to pay off all debt. And another reason for this is I would like to buy a house. And I didn't put that as a goal this year because I feel like it might be a little bit out of reach, as it has been every single year so far. We seem to go through some sort of catastrophe every year. Hopefully not this year. This is probably going to be the year we turn it all around. And I should really say that with confidence. This is going to be the year we turn it all around, really. Because we moved regions for lower cost of living, so we have that advantage. we've learned a lot. We've been able to work together and take care of our 2 kids completely on our own, which when we were living with my parents, we didn't have help with childcare, but we were living in their house, so I think that made it slightly easier, because like they were doing the trash and like their trash, and our trash would be loaded in with that, and they'd like go to the dump with it, and we were cooking for ourselves or we were going to get food, so we weren't really sharing on that, but they would sometimes like buy food, a little bit of food for us. So they were helping in a lot of ways, and if there was an emergency, my mom could watch Pearl, which was like a handful of times. Like I had a horrible sty, and had to go to the doctor once, and then we had to buy a car once, and then after that car was totaled, I think we brought Pearl with us to buy the second car. But we had a little bit of help, but it just wasn't anything extreme or regular or routine for help with their children. So I feel like it wasn't that much of an adjustment when we got here to just be us and our kids. But yeah, this year has been a big adjustment, and I think we are almost all the way adjusted, and we can kind of get to work on our different business ideas and stuff like that, so that we can turn our finances around completely while Gabe works. In the social media category, I have try out different types of reels and videos. So on my YouTube channel, I want to try different styles of videos. I'm not really enjoying vlogging. I never really have loved vlogging. I find it a little bit stressful, but I might be able to change my mindset on that this year if I make it more structured, like, a vlog with a purpose. But I also want to try a couple different styles of videos, maybe talk about Sylvie's birth story, something different. I'll come up with something. Let me know if you want to see anything specific, by the way. Reels, I just kind of want to get a little out of my comfort zone, which my comfort zone is not posting reels at all on Instagram. So I want to start posting reels and maybe do some like funny reels or something like that. And then my second goal is post weekly on YouTube. Couldn't do this last year, it was too chaotic, so I'm hoping that I can get on this year. And if I'm consistent for a while, I'm happy, but that is the goal, post weekly on YouTube. Let's see if I can do it. And then my third is post reels 3 times a week, which ties into the try different types of reels thing. But yeah, I want to try and post reels 3 times a week, see if I can grow my Instagram a little bit. I went through some weird stages where I was like, oh my god, I don't want people following me on Instagram. I feel weird about Instagram, and I would remove followers, and then kind of regrow my Instagram over time, not really trying to grow it and stuff. But now I feel pretty comfortable on Instagram. I share a lot on stories. If you want to follow me, it's in the description. I enjoy Instagram a whole lot. I actually feel very comfortable on the platform. I don't really do a whole lot of reels, but I could, and I want to. So that's a goal this year. My final category is personal/relationship, and I really just have 2 things there. One of them is more experiences for my daughters, so like family trips, going to museums or to parks, indoor playgrounds since it's winter, regular playgrounds when it's warm out again, things like that, like a trampoline park for Pearl. I think she would love that. Just that kind of thing. And obviously take my husband with us and just have a good time as a family, because I think Sylvie's getting to the point where she's old enough to enjoy stuff a lot more, as long as we do it at like 11 a.m. for right now. My second goal on that is more quality time with my husband. This past year, we have not hardly had any time to spend together, because it's always been him taking care of the toddler while I take care of the baby, or us taking care of our children together, or us going to appointments together, which is always for me or the baby or Pearl. And that's just not, like, that's fun. I do have fun when we go do these things, even though I don't enjoy appointments. But I want to have quality time, like fun time together, but like, I don't know, play a video game, watch a show, watch a movie, have an at-home date night, have a date night where we take the girls with us. Because for us, we don't need date nights alone. We need date nights with our daughters too, because we love them, and we also have no childcare, and we are not comfortable leaving our kids with anybody. So that kind of thing would be really nice, where we can just kind of spend time together. And also, as the girls get older and Sylvie sleeps a little bit better, so I can like leave the room when she's sleepy without her waking up and crying, we can probably spend more time talking together or watching a show or whatever, and just be a married couple. Because when we got married, I was already pregnant, Kind of a weird story, but before we got married, we decided I would go off birth control to get ready to get pregnant, because I had read that it can take up to 6 months to have your hormones regulated to be ovulating again after going off birth control. So I went off birth control and I got pregnant almost right away. And Gabe already had an engagement ring and everything, and he was waiting for the right time to propose. But then I was pregnant, and he did propose actually on our half anniversary of dating. So he proposed, and we got married and everything like that. But I was pregnant when we got married. So all I'm trying to say is we never really had time to just be a married couple after getting married. I was just pregnant already. So I do want to spend that really valuable quality time with my husband and, have fun together. And that's not to say, that's not to say that we never had quality time together beforehand. We had been living together for a year and a half when we got engaged, so almost a year and a half when I got pregnant, and we knew we were going to get married. We had been talking about that. Gabe brought up rings that July. So 7 months before he proposed, he had talked about rings. And, so nothing was a surprise, and we knew we wanted to have a baby, which is why I went off birth control. Otherwise, that would never have happened, if we had not intended to have kids together. But it's been kind of a whirlwind, because when we met, we fell in love really fast. We moved in together about a month after officially dating, and we had been seeing each other since May. And we still want to spend all our time together, and, that's good. That's what you're supposed to have in a marriage, so... But I wanted to share that. And also, if you have any sort of a story of, you falling in love quickly and it working out well, I would love to hear it. Because I hear too much on the internet about things needing to take copious amounts of time to be like a good relationship or a real relationship. So I would love to hear your story if you have one. But that's unrelated to anything. And that is my January 2024 yearly reset. I may go back to doing monthly ones again this year. We'll see. It'll depend if I feel like I have anything to kind of add on that. Like every month that I did these resets, I kind of struggled. But I think that was because I was so freshly postpartum at the time that I really couldn't think. So we'll see. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed watching me ramble and talk about stuff, please consider subscribing. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!